waited in line just to share this experience of Venom, Candyman, Night of the Living Dead, The Rock, Final Destination. But I want you to know you are now entering the
Cinema
Chop Shop with a top and the pop. Boom, boom, bop.
The Cinema Chop Shop.
What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. And today, I'm here to review Black Phone 2. So yeah, we got a chance to go in and see that thing, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, before you guys get into this review, make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I'm going to give you an honest review. Now, Black Phone 2, we have the sequel to the first Black Phone. Obviously, it makes it kind of hard because, you know, the grabber is dead. But seeing that they had supernatural elements in the first film, it doesn't necessarily make this movie completely impossible, right? That element is brought into this movie and it's amplified. And I feel like either people are going to like this movie or they're not going to like this movie. And off the top, I'm going to be honest with you, I really did like this movie. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the positives, shall we? First of all, this movie has amazing cinematography. And what do I mean by that is if you guys like the movie Sinister, it has a lot of elements like that. There's these grainy, cool dream sequencey shots that come off really well done. And it's reminiscent to Sinister. You know, if you guys know, you know exactly what I'm talking about when they turned on the film and then, you know, the motherfucker. And then, you know, they had the little kids killing people. Anyway, I digress. So we also have, within those elements that it looks like Sinister, you also have nods to classic horror films. So there are nods to Sinister, but then also there are obvious nods to Nightmare on Elm Street. In some aspects, the grabber kind of becomes Freddy Krueger, and I thought that was really cool. And when you see the movie, you'll understand it fully. I don't want to give away any details or anything, but again, you will completely understand what I mean when I say that this feels like Nightmare on Elm Street, a new modern version. Also, Ethan Hawke has some amazing quotables in this movie. He says some real outlandish, sinister shit in this movie, and I thought he came off as diabolical, which was really cool, and it helps cement him as a pretty decent horror icon, especially in this new age of cinema, or horror cinema. I thought the script was pretty damn good, even though it was like very limited in what they can do. The story itself was really good. I thought the story was fantastic. Now, the way that the characters interacted with said story, that's a conversation for a different day. Well, not a different day, but later on in this video, where I'm going to get into some of the cons of this shit. Now, the flow from the movie, to me, in my opinion, I feel like it flowed pretty well. From beginning to the end of the movie, it had a nice little flow to it, and I never really got bored. I felt like it had just the right amount of jump scares, you know, in the movie, that it didn't feel like they overdid it or they underdid it. I feel like they did just the right amount. And when it does have jump scares, I feel like it adds to the movie, or adds to like the iconicness of the grabber. What else? I feel like most of the characters had decent character development, especially with our returning characters, Finn and his sister. Even with the grabber, you know, we get more of a backstory to him and kind of like see more of his origin to be. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into too much, but the character development is there. We see how these characters have held up with being victims of the grabber, or, you know, just dealing with the trauma that is the grabber several years down the line. I thought it was cool that they expanded on the supernatural element. It had really great build-ups in the movie. And also, the cool thing about this movie, it was a lot bloodier. So this movie's more bloodier than the first one, which, to me, all day, give that one to me, right? Especially in them dream sequences. The dream sequences are really cool. Another cool aspect of this movie was the fact that where it was set. This movie is set in like a snow area. So the whole backdrop to the movie is white, it's snow, and I think that really adds like to the darkness of the horror element of this movie. And then honestly, I know this sounds dark as hell, but blood on top of snow looks real good. Again, there's also another homage to a classic movie. If you guys have seen Curtains, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I think that if I'm not mistaken, the scene pops up in the trailer, so it's not like I'm giving anything away. But yeah, there is a definite homage scene to the movie Curtains. Now let's go ahead and get into some of the negatives. I think the cast was aight, alright? I think Finn and his sister, they do a decent job, but at the same time, it really feels like they try too hard sometimes to be funny. Like, the kids curse a lot in this movie, like a lot. And I think I had that problem with the first film. The kids curse a lot and it doesn't seem like real. It just feels like they're trying too damn hard to sound like they're rebellious or something. And it just, nobody in this movie stole the show. You would think that, okay, you brought back the kids from the first movie. I feel like they would learn a lot and kind of, you know, kick it up a notch. But nobody really steals the show in this movie. There's no character where I really was like, you know what? That character did that shit. I like that character. You know, I want to see more of that character. When you have elements like from Sinister and Nightmare on Elm Street, some people might see it as cliche. Some people might see it as unoriginal, you know? You couldn't think of your own shit, so you had to steal from Freddy Krueger, or you couldn't think of your own shit, so you had to steal it from Sinister. Some people might view that as unoriginal. I kind of liked it, but at the same time, I understand that people didn't. One part of the ending felt forced. Like the ending of the movie felt real forced. I didn't really. I think that's one thing. If I could change about this movie, I would definitely change that ending, because it just felt like it was such a quick kind of conclusion and things just happened so fast. And you go from like being like this top tier villain to like a top tier bitch. And I thought that was a weak way for him to go out. I feel like that he should have. I don't know. It should have been more of a fight, more of a struggle. I feel like it should have been a lot harder to kind of take down the grabber or whatever the case may be. And it just, I don't know. I feel like it just didn't. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. Some part of the stories like contradict themselves. All right, I can't go into complete details about it, but there are some parts of the story that are introduced early in the film that later on in the film, like they don't. I don't know. It's just stupid. It's some things from the first movie and things that happen at the beginning of the movie that contradict themselves because for some reason it just gets taken away and you can't, and it doesn't happen anymore. I can't go into detail. I really wish I could, but I really can't. Again, comedic elements, they feel like they're not needed, and then sometimes they go on a lot longer than they're supposed to. There is one joke in this movie. It feels like it goes on forever, and I really hope that they trim it down in whatever cut that they finally release. But this joke happens between two characters in this movie, and it goes on way too freaking long. And I'm just like, dude, like we really just sat here 5 minutes listening to this dumbass joke. I'm done. I'm over it. Like, let's move on already. And we could have been doing something completely different. And it just feels like they kind of just, I don't know, they just don't. To me, it just sucked. I didn't like it. I felt like it went on way too long. Last but not least, overall, I think that I enjoyed this sequel a lot more than the first film. Now, I know. Don't shoot me now. But I really felt like the sequel is a lot better than the original. To me, it was a lot more action-packed. There was a lot more going into it. I don't know. It had a lot going for it. Now, I will say I like the third act of the first Black Phone a lot more than this one. But I think overall that this movie did a really good job, and it's one of those sequels that may be better than the first one. And you know, that might come off bad to some people, but hey, it is what it is. But I really think that this sequel did a pretty damn good job. I feel like it doubled down on the horror elements, and it also created something semi-new with the grabber character. And I thought it was really cool because you were able to bring somebody who's initially dead back to life in a way that works with your first film, and I don't know, it just worked. How can I say it just worked? A lot of films try to bring people back from the dead, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Like, let me say, like Terrifier, right? I feel like Arthur Clown came back from the dead, and ever since he kind of came back from the dead, I don't know, he just hasn't been. It just hasn't felt like, you know, right. Like, it just hasn't felt like it works for him. But when you have this grabber character and you start to see where they take this story, I think you guys are going to appreciate it. But anyway, that's all I got. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? I mean, you're not going to be able to see this for a couple of weeks or whatever, but let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you guys think of my review. And until next time, you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys are having a great day. And adios, homies.
I want to play a game. Subscribe now. The choice is yours. You're now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop.